So if you do use these on a bag and use it for sparring, you'll eventually kill someone. Like murder. What's happening, guys? It's Coach Bernard with another review. This time with a review that I have been asked to do before a few times, mostly from the same person, quite a bit. Here's my review on the Cleto Reyes traditional training glove. This one is actually about 1.5 years old. So even after 1.5 years, these are still in pretty good condition. These aren't mine, it belongs to my fighter. The one I have are these ones here, and I've had these ones for 2 years. So these are made with a latex foam that is 2 inches thick, and it seems to be 2 inches thick on both of them. So on the 18 ounces and on the 16 ounces, they're both about the same thickness, 2 inches on both. It kind of makes you wonder if you should use 18 ounces for sparring, but I'll get into that later. But the latex foam that they have in these are really soft. Like as soon as you get them, well, these are old, but as soon as you get them, like they can pretty much move around. Good flexibility in the gloves. You can really open up your hand. The inside has the usual inner lining, nothing fancy, but they say these are supposed to be waterproof on the inside to help prevent from the padding to be exposed to moisture. Now Reyes is known for having a strict quality control, so that's why you always see people praising the stitching on these gloves. The stitching is always really well done. You never really see any frays or any off-angled stitch. And also the goat skin that they use for the leather is also high quality. It's a good thickness to it, so it doesn't feel thin. You won't worry about it ripping over time. These feel really good in a natural fist position. They have the grip bar, of course, like most gloves should come with, and they have the attached thumb. The only issue with the thumb, though, I find, is that the piping here, the thumb strip, is a little bit further out compared to other gloves. Because it's further out, it makes your thumb kind of stick out like this, which did concern me when I first got these, but I've never had any thumb injuries wearing these. And I've had a pair of ring size before, way before these ones, and I kept spraining my thumb in those all the time, but I've never sprained my thumb wearing Reyes gloves. In terms of performance, these perform really great when you're sparring with them. I felt no discomfort. The foam itself is actually pretty thick. Again, they say that it's 2 inches of thickness, but it might be less. It feels like it's less, but it does protect your knuckle really well. I've never really hurt myself wearing these, but if you are going to use these for sparring, just use it for sparring. I don't recommend you using these for sparring and bag work, because Reyes are known for flattening out over time. So if you do use these on a bag and use it for sparring, you'll eventually kill someone. Like murder. Well, just hurt someone really bad. Maybe break their nose. Just to be safe, just use these for sparring only. Now, because these gloves are both pretty old, I can give you an over time assessment. Now, the only things that you see really deteriorating on these gloves are the design aspects, like the badge here. They're very hard to clean, so when they get dirty, they really stay dirty. I'm kind of afraid to clean it because I don't want the badge to get like little fuzz balls on them. So, and then the logo here does fade out pretty badly. But my fighter's gloves here, these are actually 1.5 years old, and they look great. These are probably the best looking logos I've seen on a pair of Reyes gloves more than 1 year old. Like, look at them. Unless you took a Sharpie. No, maybe I'll put a Sharpie. But in terms of long-term use, the leather doesn't crack. It may crack slightly, like there's these micro scratches. Leather itself doesn't crack at all, or barely does. You do see wrinkling on these gloves, but it's not that bad. Like, it's still pretty smooth. Like it might look wrinkly here. You're always kind of bending your wrist anyways. You do have the tendency to bend and wrinkle the leather. But over here, it's not too bad. But over here in the back of the fist, it looks pretty good. Like here, this one here, it has a little bit of the folds here. So I don't know if it's because of the color, because the white ones here does have those little micro scratches along the folds. But here my yellow ones, they look fine. Like if I squeeze these, like you don't really see any cracks. The white ones, you know, you can see all these little folds, all these little cracks. So I don't know if it's the paint or if it's just a different kind of leather that they use for 18 ounces, but it seems to be a little bit different from one another. And with the leather, it does fade just a little bit. Like the white does show chipping of the color on the edges. It's really just here on the thumb. Everywhere else is fine. With the yellow one, you see mostly just color fades. Like it's starting to look a little pale and not as a vibrant yellow as when I first got these, but it's 2 years old. Now when you compare the 18 and the 16 ounce, the 18 ounces are a lot bigger. They are super wide compared to the 16 ounces. They're also longer. Also, the padding itself feels softer. They do have the same thickness in terms of foam, but these ones feel softer. So when I hit someone with it, I feel less bad. When this one here, oh, that one feels like it might hurt. Because the foam here does feel slightly denser compared to the 18 ounces, but you can still use it for sparring. They're still really good in terms of thickness of the padding. I can really squeeze down here. Can't really feel my knuckle until I go really down here. That's when I can feel my knuckle. 18 ounces, squeeze down, and it feels a lot softer compared to the 16 ounces. It does seem to be more protective. I have seen videos where they say that 18 ounces are better to spar with, and I do feel that is the case. But you can still spar with 16s. It's just that I recommend it more so for people who are lighter, maybe under middleweight category. Anyone over middleweight should probably wear 18s, even though they're so big. I mean, that's one thing I don't like about these, is that they're so wide and big. So when I take pictures, my hand just looks so large, but it's just a small inconvenience. But that's my review. If you enjoyed this video, click like, and if you want to see more videos just like this, subscribe to the channel. Catch you next time.